Okay, so now we're changing subject a bit. We will hear from Anne on behalf of Spokes, who is going to speak to us regarding item 14 and 16, which is the Northern Line and MCR Norwest Arc report.
Just could we get an idea from our companies or subsidiaries what it would actually cost to do that function which was just talked about, as in connecting the ships? Because okay.
When that topic comes up, we'll be able to speak to that.
Hello, far away.
Kia ora koutou, ko Anne Scott Toka Wingwa. What I want to talk about is just some changes to the Norwest Arc and to the Northern Line. And the good news is that supporting active transport reduces emissions, and that every time we build a good facility, more people will cycle. So with the Norwest Arc, Spoke supports the separated cycleways on the road, which is the current design. The hearings panel and the council chose this as the safest and best outcome after the hearings admissions. And it's safer for both pedestrians and cyclists. It's also faster to build, so it's unlikely to inflate is at the same rate. And the design work has already been done. Now, if you look at the major cycle routes, the purpose of these are there are two purposes. One is to provide a major arterial system for cyclists to travel across the city and between destinations. And for that to happen, they must be direct, comfortable and quicker than other transport ways. When you start to put in shared paths, you slow things down and you create conflicts between those who want to walk their dogs, who want to walk slowly, and cyclists who actually want to move. And then you start to get into conflicts of, well, why aren't you on the road? Because you're going too fast. Or if you're on the road, why are you on the road when there's a cycleway there that you could have used instead? And I think that with the major cycle routes, we really need to support direct transport as well, fast transport, direct transport. This is going to be a cycleway that's going to be really well used. It's a key route to schools and the university. There are already considerable number of cyclists using it, but there will be more cyclists when you actually build the right technologies. And what we're going to end up with is the congestion that you see at certain times on this cycle route as well. So it's just not going to support the numbers if you actually put in shared cycleway areas. And you know, at certain times of the day you've got the teenagers going to Burnside High School. In the morning they're running late and they're going fast and they're individual, and in the afternoon they hunt in packs and they're wobbling all over the place. And they're just not suitable to have on shared cycleway paths. It's already creating problems with the new part that you've built, which is the bit that comes out of the path that they're coming from Burnside High, going round to the school. This is on Island Road, and then just that little bit up into Orangi. This is already creating issues with this being a shared path. And I have to say, I took a little bit out of this, and I understand some of you saw the first version before I toned it down. But in actual fact, the amount of abuse that I've had on that little part is the highest I've had on any cycleway. And it's really shameful because this is my local one. Next slide. So option A is the cheapest, it's the best, it's the fastest at this point. Why are we even considering spending another 2.5 to 4 million on a lesser option? And not only that, but there is a lesser option with a whole lot of unknowns, which risk further price increases. Option B and C remove permeability of rainwater drainage as well. But I think that what you really need to think of is, look, just do this. We've had a lot of consultation, we've talked to a lot of people. It's time to put the infrastructure on the ground. Coming back to the Northern Line, this is, apologies from Spokes, we missed the consultation, but this is mostly a really good sign. It's a busy pedestrian and cycling area as well. We have a little bit of concern about the very sharp turn from Restal Street on and off the tactile surface. And we just would like it to be widened just a little bit more. Cargo bikes, trikes and mobility devices, they need a bit more space. They have wide turns and the raised pedestrian crossing is good. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Templeton.
Thanks so much, Anne. I'm just wondering, just at the beginning, you were talking about that shared path space, but also some of the issues of people not understanding how things work. Do you think the council needs to do a better job or more work on in that education space about cycleways, both for people who are biking and people who are watching people bike?
I think so, particularly when you first put the facilities in. There's a lot of conflict at the moment between people who want to walk their dogs in that particular area and cyclists, and particularly at key times, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, for instance, where there's actually quite a lot of traffic in there, and you can't have dogs wandering all over the place, particularly when you're coming round that sharp corner.
Would it be better just to not have shared paths generally in high traffic areas?
In high traffic areas, it's better not to.
That's it.
I think there are a place for shared paths, like a really quiet path that's going through a park, for instance, which connects two neighbourhoods. But this is a main route, and I don't think we should be having shared paths on main routes.
Thanks.
Okay, I've got one question. Down on the first part of Antigua Street from the boat sheds towards Parakiori, that's a shared path, and it seems to work very well. And then from Parakiori down to Hagley Park, that's a shared path and works very well. Have you got any comments on that?
It works well when people know what they're doing, but it can actually be quite a high conflict area. And the problem we've got is the number of cyclists are growing. And as the number of cyclists grow, it comes from okay, it works very well, to oh dear, it's not working very well at all. Okay. And that's the situation we've got. I mean, for instance, outside of the museum for years that worked really well, particularly during COVID when there were no tourists. And as soon as the tourists came back, you had really bad conflicts because no one knows which way they're going.
Councillor Kewen, please.
So spokes advocates for bells on bikes.
For what? Sorry, Mr.
A spokes an advocate for bells on bikes. Give someone a wee ding ding as you're approaching, so they don't kind of jump out of their skin.
Bells on bikes, yes and no. So bells on bikes work, but what you have, you've got a tourist.
I use one.
You've got a tourist. You ding the bell. You think they're going left, and they go right. Bang.
Fair comment. Okay.
Yeah.
No, we've got too many. Thank you very much for your, it's not submission, deputation. Okie doke. So next we have Fiona Bennett, who will be also talking